Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of VAFA Tragics. Great to have your company from the tropical broadcasting studio here in East St Kilda. Is that where we are?
Oh, apparently in
G'day,
East
Nick,
St Kilda. It's good to see that the standards just... I didn't think they could get much lower after a couple of weeks ago, but you've just gone
The my shirt a couple of weeks ago was good.
The
You
old
liked it.
T-shirt... Alisha liked it. I was playing along with it a little bit, but it's looking good, mate. Nice and colourful, brightening up the set a little bit.
Yeah, we had a few wardrobe issues on the way here, so we've just gone with the T-shirt, which is okay.
Changing it up, I don't mind it.
I think it's a relaxed vibe. It gives a casual air to the week, and you don't wear collars anymore when you play footy. You used to have collars on your footy jumpers.
Well,
the umpires used to have collars on their shirts. Umpire week this week as well.
Yeah, good.
Umpire week, we're going to have Matty Oakley is going to join us on the show to talk about umpiring around. Looking forward to chatting to him. What was your highlight from the weekend?
Harry Hill's return to form. Now, we're calling it return to form because Harry Hill's never really out of form from Old Brighton. He's obviously been a Tragics guest on the weekend. He had 24 touches and kicked 3 goals. And when he kicked 2 goals and had 10 disposals in the second quarter, en route to beating St Kevin's, mind you, I just received a little tweet off Will Pekowski, who obviously plays for Victoria in cricket, and he's going to be a future Australian batsman, who just reminded us if there was anyone out there who was questioning Harry Hill's form, he is certainly back now. I wasn't questioning it.
Oh, were you questioning it?
So I may have made one slight comment that he probably wasn't in
your article?
GT winning form. Yeah, I think I said it somewhere. And
he's one of your faves.
He's my absolute favourite. And it wasn't even. It was sort of like he probably didn't have the greatest game in the history of the world, but he'd certainly played well on the weekend, and he is back in form.
I'm going to Ormonds, and Damien Cleary's, I think he's broken the club record with 367 games, which is an astonishing effort. So congratulations to him. Picked up a certificate of merit this year.
Yeah,
big year for Damien.
Yeah, it's a huge year.
367 games. Let's just a bit of simple maths here. You've got 18 games max a season, or not max, minimum, that you could probably register a year. 36. It's a lot of years of football.
Yeah, my maths isn't that great, but I'm guessing 18, 36. Well, that's 20-something.
20-ish years of footy plus finals. Yeah, it's a lot of games of footy. On to William Buck Premier, that we're getting laughed at with our poor maths here in the studio. William Buck Premier, Uni Blues OMs. OMs, after their win, have gone back to struggling a little bit.
A little bit is one way to put it. I think more to the point, Blues have announced themselves as a serious contender.
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. And they said themselves they didn't think they were playing that well over the first 2 rounds when they were just getting over the line, just winning against Brighton Trinity. On the weekend, they have run out 105-point winners. It was massive. It was a hard-fought and tight opening term, but it was thereafter. It was all Blues. Ace Cordy kicked 6 goals. Josh Green kicked 6 goals. So he kicked 4.5.
No, Cordy kicked 6.5, didn't he?
No, 4.5, but he kicked 6 for the game.
Oh, right.
It was in the first 3 quarters he kicked his 6-0. But that's basically what set it up for them.
Yeah.
Ace Cordy could potentially, go back to back, one would have thought, based on his first few games. And Connor Lappin was the other one down back. He had 22 disposals, and he's a big chance to play Big V footy.
Where is the Big V game this year?
It's at Icon Park.
Against?
AFL Vic Country.
AFL Vic Country, so big game.
So it's a massive game because we're coming off the back of 2 years ago when we beat them by 82 points, but they're obviously going to come back and want to get one back against us. So it's probably even a bigger game than 2 years ago.
Fair enough. Old Brighton, you mentioned that off the top with Harry Hill beating Scobs. Scobs 1 and 2 now.
They are 1 and 2, but they're missing a lot of players, and I'm not giving them excuses, but they are still missing Mitch Brown. Nick Wood didn't play again. Billy Kanakis and Sullivan are both playing VFL. So not at full strength, but in terms of Brighton hadn't won a game, so it was great for them to get their first win. But I think they were pretty strong as well at TH King last year. They kicked 4 goals to 2 in the first quarter and maintained that lead. Have a look at this footage. Hamish Dick potentially kicked a goal of the year. He's taken it from the half-back flank here, taken 3 or 4 bounces and put it through from 45. So that was on his way to 2 goals and bevy of touches. Great stuff from Hamish Dick. And obviously, Nick Pavlou, another 37 disposals.
Not the powerhouse former president.
Not the powerhouse former president. I actually did get asked that. No, he hasn't wound back the clock. It is a young and talented Nick Pavlou.
Zabs went to 3-0 as well against Old Trinity. Collegians got their first win of the year as well against Old Crow, which is a big result for them.
Yeah, they really needed that, Collegians, obviously. Now, we know the injury troubles that they have had and a few people overseas. Lockie Ferguson was one of those people who came back on the weekend. If you take a look at this goal early in the 4th quarter, you can see that he is seriously back. He wasn't injured or anything. He was only overseas, so he's been really fit. And to have him back, and they've got quite a few others to come back in the next few weeks.
Fair to say the radio game this week will be St Bernard's and Uni Blues?
No, it will not.
Oh.
We've already covered those two, so we're sharing it around.
Sure, 3-0. That St Bernard's beating De La Salle comfortably. It sets up a big clash.
It is a big top of the table clash, and it would be interesting to see. Simon Caven is out this weekend though with injury, so that's a big blow for St Bernard's. And at the Uni Oval, I would have thought the Blues.
The Ogs just unlucky to go down to the Vultures by 4 points at Como.
Yeah, well, the Vultures led by 23 points at three-quarter time, but they gave up 4 goals to 1. But it was good to see the Vultures get on the board. Again, it was their first win for the season. They've been in or thereabouts for the first 2 games, and they've got a pretty talented side this year with Harley Ballett coming into the team and obviously Owen Lawler coaching now. So they got their first win, and that was good for them.
The surprise result in Premier B was probably Bowie's big win over Old Haileybury.
Yeah, it was. And Old Haileybury having won the game on the siren last week.
Yep.
Bo Morris, we thought would struggle a little bit more than they have in the first 3 rounds. They had a mass exodus of players, but they've got a lot of young talent coming through. They've got a new captain, obviously Guy McKenna still there, but they're 2-1 after 3 rounds, and they're looking good for that 4th spot.
Monash Blues just struggling still.
Yeah, look, it's unfortunate for Monash Blues. They've come up against the form side of the competition in Scotch.
In Prem C, the Nodders, the celebrations were big after they beat Ajax by a point.
Yeah, they were pretty happy about it, and you can see this on Twitter. They're really good on Twitter, the Nodders. I think we've given them a spruik before, but they always get the big moments, and obviously the siren blowing there and then going up. They're up by 17 points at half-time. The Jackers kicked 9 goals, 22. So they had a lot more scoring shots than the Nodders, but then, inaccuracy can kill you.
Tell you what I am surprised about is the size of the margins in the rest of the Premier C games as well. Some really big results there. Old Ivanhoe pegs by close to 100, and Willie beating Old Camberwell as well by 83.
That's a surprise, because Camberwell have been really good in those first 2 rounds.
Right, we're going to take a break. We're going to get our special guest in. Matt Oakley is going to join us from the Umpires for VAFA Umpire Round. Back with more in a moment.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. As we mentioned before the break, we've got Matt Oakley here because it's VAFA Umpires Round. Welcome to the desk.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about what VAFA Umpires Round means.
VAFA Umpires Round means basically everyone says thanks to the umpires.
They don't do that anyway?
Oh, I feel they do. I mean, in this league, I was at the Snake Pit on the weekend, and they're more than happy to give you some free beers after the game, and basically won't leave you alone. They're that friendly. So, but I think it's more of
the fans or the players?
Mainly a few fans here and there, but they're more than jovial with their feedback at the Snake Pit. But I think even just for like the lower levels, just for saying thanks. Because if you don't have umpires, you can't run a footy game. So, as everyone says,
take us into the inner sanctum of umpires. We see the cover, so I presume there's going to be an umpire on the front cover of the record this week.
Yeah, there were 2 umpires.
2 umpires.
A man and a woman.
So, do you guys give each other fines if you're featured in the record and that sort of thing?
Well, there is. Last year we had a theatrical Thirst Day rather than a Mad Monday, so a few fines might be handed out for appearing at the front of the amateur football.
There's a few. So every week now, there's umpire player profiles in there. Do they get a run at training or?
Yes, they have. A few of them have been heavily edited. I think throwing a few fellow umpires under the bus. I think one of the questions is who would you least like to run with? I'm not sure why they've put that in there because I think there's a few blokes who have been put in there a few times. So. I didn't submit mine because I knew it wouldn't make it to print. So,
tell us about the VAFA umpires and how much you and.
Well, I mean, being a VAFA umpire I love umpiring now. I've been umpiring for 15 years. I love it now more than I have ever because there is the social element to it. But as I said, there is we do a few trivia nights and social occasions. I mean, it's just like a normal footy club, I guess.
So did you play? Tell us.
Yeah.
How did you get into umpiring?
Money, basically.
Yeah.
Started as I was 14, and running around on a Saturday arvo getting $120 is better than working in the supermarket.
Yep. So you were playing at the same time?
Yeah, I played up until I was 17.
Yep.
And actually 10 years ago, I took a year off and lived overseas in Dubai and played for the Dubai Dingoes over there.
Who's their competition? The Abu Dhabi? Or?
Yeah, so it's in the AFL Middle East, and I was playing for the Dubai Dingoes. Few ex-AFL players playing on me over there, and I'll tell you what, umpiring is a lot easier.
Who are the players?
Andrew Shawble played for Collingwood. The Houghton boys who played Carlton. So I lined up on one of those blokes one day, and yeah, playing is far harder than.
So what sort of
than
grounds are
umpiring.
you playing on? Polo fields or?
Yeah, polo fields. They play on soccer pitches as well.
Yep.
So it's only 9 a side, and
Okay.
instead of going from Beau Morris to Brighton, you're going from Dubai across the border to Oman.
Tell us about your time at VFL level. Now, you've done over 100 senior games at VAFA level, but before that you were at the VFL. So how was it there, and then obviously coming back into the VAFA?
It was a lot more serious at the VFL. Obviously, everyone at the VFL basically is trying to umpire AFL footy, because that's the pathway. Basically, to umpire AFL, you would have had to have umpired a VFL grand final. Didn't quite make it, but that's all right.
Can you work out what it was? Why you didn't quite make it? Is it bouncing or is it decision making? Do they give that sort of feedback?
Yeah,
What's the feedback like?
As it comes towards finals, and it's the same at VAFA level, there's only 3 spots for the main game. And the less things you do wrong, the better you do. So basically, I got into the final series and had a few skill-if bounces.
Yep.
Fitness level might not have quite been there. But, for every AFL umpire, there's 25 sob stories, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 100 games was fun. I loved it. And just wanted to keep umpiring, which is why I came to the Amos.
So you're an advocate then for getting rid of the bounce and just throwing it up now?
I definitely am.
So would there seriously be better umpires in the system at the higher levels if you got rid of the bounce? Is the bounce really
Well,
a
I
hindrance?
think of the AFL umpires, I think the grand final appointments would change.
Yep.
There are better decision makers who unfortunately might have a few skill-if bounces or might not be strong enough at bouncing. I personally know a few umpires who have had post-season operations because they've had bad backs or bad shoulders.
Yep.
And that's affected their performance.
Even with only bouncing in the middle of the ground now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's great for the look.
Yep.
But no one walks out of the ground and says, "Oh, geez, the umpires
No,
bounced well today."
absolutely.
Geez, they were great, weren't they?
They're not saying that they're great at the highest level at the moment. I want to ask you about a couple of those ones.
Okay,
So,
fire.
so you look at the umpiring season at the AFL level.
Yep.
And across the VAFA, the noise hasn't certainly been that strong, but it's been pretty
It's
strong
down, though.
at the top level about the quality of the umpiring. Do you look at the games and go, the umpiring's not quite where it needs to be, or is it the challenge of interpretation?
I think interpretation is a long way. I mean, take, for example, last week, the Anzac Day game. I feel that was umpired like an AFL grand final. A lot of decisions, half decisions, 50-50 ones were let go. However, there was a few holding the ball ones where maybe, did he have a chance to get rid of it? Maybe,
so
maybe
the
not.
crisp one is probably the biggest talking point.
Yep.
He took on a player, got round that player, got caught by the second player, gets brought to ground, crowd goes up in arms. He did hand pass it out though. I feel like as a public, you get brought to ground after you've evaded someone, that's holding the ball. Now, whether that's right or wrong, tell us, is that right or
Well,
wrong?
the rule says if you're had a prior opportunity
Yep.
and you're tackled, you must dispose immediately.
Yep.
The umpire on the day and the AFL since have said that he did dispose immediately.
Yep. But once he was brought to ground.
Well, that's up for interpretation, isn't
Okay,
it?
yeah.
And that's where it lies. I mean, there was another one, Darcy Moore on the wing in front of the members. He
got bumped off as he kicked. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people would cry, that's holding the ball. He's dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Dropping the ball is not even a rule.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the problem lies.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that we used to grow up. When I grew up as a kid, it was all about, is it dropping the ball? It was one of the ones that you could do, and I think it was out of Kevin Bartlett when he was bouncing, getting tackled, and it looked like, it was I think it was called dropping the ball off the back of that.
Yeah.
I reckon remove prior opportunity as a interpretation, so you don't have prior opportunity, and it would eliminate everything. So the decision you've got to make as an umpire is: did they get rid of it? Did they make an attempt to get rid of it, or did they? If it's locked in, are they trying to get rid of it?
I think the way that you say that makes it sound a lot easier.
Yep.
I'm not sure why. I mean, I don't write the rules.
Because how long is prior opportunity? Is it half a second, 2 seconds? Is it 3 seconds? Yeah.
Well, for instance, we are told if a player grabs the ball 3 steps, that's prior opportunity.
Yep.
If he grabs the ball, tries to kick it straight away because he knows there's a bloke or woman coming towards them, that's not prior opportunity. So that's the 3 steps is for us.
Yeah.
But then it is an interpretation.
Get rid of it, prior opportunity. Solve
You
a
made
lot
a
of
good case.
Because if you sit there, I presume the biggest issue you guys face when you're hearing hecklers over the fence is regarding holding the ball decisions or non-decisions.
Usually. A lot of the time also, I mean, especially in AFL football, sometimes VAFA football, the crowd might actually have a better view than us. They might be a little bit higher.
This is a big bugbear of mine. Why do you guess? Seems like you guess sometimes.
No, you never guess, mate.
Feels like sometimes umpires, not really you, umpires
I
guess.
don't guess, mate.
Not a guy who's umpired 4 Williambuck Premier Grand Final.
Anyway, that's enough of the serious stuff. Nick's going to fire some fun ones at you.
No, I want to ask you about your 4 Premier Grand Finals. Which has been your favourite to date?
The first one I umpired was my favourite, 2015.
St Berners and Trinity?
Yeah, that was probably one of the better games I've ever umpired. Everything fell into place that day. The weather was amazing. 2 great teams.
Goal kickers at both kicked over 100 points. Like, close game, close finish.
I can't remember making too many decisions as an umpire. It was basically mark, play on, mark, play on.
Yep.
And I think that also makes for a better game.
It's cleaner footy. Yep.
Much cleaner footy. And I'm actually really proud of how we performed that day. I mean, no one would know that, we umpired. Like, it was just all about the players.
Yeah, it was.
You've done a bit of rep footy. Tell us about South Australia. You did things a little bit differently last year. I know you guys all went over early to go to an AFL
Yeah, it was
game.
good. We went over on the Friday morning. I was able to fit a game of golf in the morning. That was great.
What's the handicap?
I'm off 9 at the moment. So.
That's all right,
It's okay. It's a frustrating
Playing out of where mostly?
At Commonwealth.
Very nice.
It's a frustrating handicap to be off. You know you should be better. So I'm either a good bad player or a bad good player. But
where are we falling short? Is it off the tee, the short game, on the ground?
I'm just likely for a mistake hole everywhere, and like a birdie's good, a par's good, but there's too many blow-up holes for me. So I need to just clean it up a little bit. We got to go to the I think it was Richmond and Port over there, and went and visited the umpires in the rooms beforehand, and we actually sat and watched the game in the coach's box, so you could hear what they were saying on the ground. So that was good. And then, the next day, the Vic boys pumped the South Australian lads. So
great weekend.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Enjoy running out. We look forward to seeing you in another Premier Grand Final at the end of the year.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Thanks, mate.
Matty Oakley joining us at the desk. Back to talk some women's footy with Alisha Min right after this. Welcome back to the Tragics. Alisha Min's at the desk to talk VAFA Women's. How's it going?
Very good, Lenny. How are you?
Did you enjoy Easter?
I did.
I'm well, thank you.
You're well. Very good.
Yeah.
And you're looking well. I like the t-shirt.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. This is good to see.
I don't know what I think about this.
It's going to keep going.
Are you a Lint Bunny person or are you a...
I'm a dairy milk all the way.
Dairy
Just
milk
give
all
me
the way?
Cadbury.
Gillian chocolates?
I'm not that fancy. I'm pretty
I
basic.
think they're not that great either.
No.
All right.
Just give me a Lint Bunny every day of the week. I think there's no better chocolate than Easter egg chocolate, by the way.
It's-
Like the hollow ones, not the little solid eggs, but
The hollow ones. They're
Something about
perfect
it.
size. You can just pop it in. It's great. It's great.
I don't eat too much chocolate over Easter.
I
Perfect,
ate
guys.
a lot of
look
chocolate.
after the body, of course.
I have to look after the temple.
Yeah, that's right. Tell us what's happening in women's footy, of course. Back after a week off.
Yes. It felt like a long break, but the girls were up and about, excited to be back. And I wanted to talk about some big blows that happened on the weekend. So we had our ladder leaders who were defeated and dethroned. So we had, from 4 sections, our top of the table teams get knocked off. I'm going to kick it off with Williambuck Premier. Old Trinity, who I raved about in the last episode, went down to Q by 3 points, which was mainly spearheaded by Rachel Hardy's 3-goal-2, the last of which she kicked for Q in the final term to steal the win. In Premier B, we had the same thing. So we had Old Zabs play Caulfield, both informed teams, and both dropped down from Williambuck Premier last year. And that was a 2-point game, so very close contest there. And now Monash Blues are on top in Prem B. Prem C was our top of the table clash between Brunswick Renegades and St Beans Bentona. We were talking about promotion relegation last week, and are these teams looking able to go up to the next level? And St Beans took it by 6 goals. They were very, very skillful. Madeline Tilley kicked 5.
Yeah.
It's a
And
big win.
and Charis, I can't pronounce her last name, but Ulla Pinata, she was really...
Good job.
I think I said it with conviction, so does that
You
count?
didn't say it with conviction.
Wasn't very convincing at all. Division 2 had happened as well.
Division 2, yes, there was blood spilled at Aquinas College.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Aquinas took down Westbourne, who were undefeated on top. And now Old Ivanhoe are in first, so that was the last of the big blows dethroned and defeated.
The other great news is we had some first-time winners, and that's what we want to see.
Indeed.
Ultimately, when we look at across all the sections, across the boys and girls, we want to see every club have a win.
Exactly right. And Division 4 are the closest there. Only Albert Park haven't got the win so far. But in Division 4 this week, I was saying before, De La Salle got their first win. They defeated St Bernard's 38-20. Which is a massive result for De La, because in the first 2 rounds, they only got 7 points in round 1 and 14 points in round 2. So they've eclipsed that in 1 game. So that's the turnaround in Division 4.
When you pick 21 points in 2 games, you're a big chance to eclipse that when
38
everything goes
is
right.
significant. If you think about it as a percentage rather than as goals, that's a lot more. And we had the same in Premier C. So Canterbury dealt North Brunswick a 9-goal blow.
If you're looking forward to a game this week, what would it be?
I'm excited to see Scob again. I think they'll be up and about this week.
You're scared in Premier, aren't you? Because Q,
Throw the
now
cat
are
amongst the
coming.
pigeons.
they have.
Yeah, they are. Well, at the top of the table now, West Brunswick, number 1
Yeah.
by Premier by 0.98%, followed by Q. So that was our drawees in round 1.
Fair enough. Anything else to leave us with?
I did want to touch on some pre-game rituals, which I thought were
great.
quite funny
Yes.
on the
Here
weekend.
we go.
So-
We got through the results. Here we go.
moving on. So I'll premise this by saying one of the best pre-game ritual stories I've heard, which is in 2017, Old Geelong versus St Mary's Salesian home and away game.
Yep.
The girls crossed change rooms to braid each other's hair. So this is
From opposition teams.
correct. So let's give that as a bit of an insight into what I'm about to say here. And I've got 2 words for you, and that's dogs and dancing. They love these things. We talk about dogs a lot, but particularly on the weekend, Williamstown, Emmaus St Leo's, Old Mentonians, they have the music blaring, and they are partying in the change rooms before a game. They're absolutely having the best time. And I also saw footage as well. Monash Blues, they were Bruce and Over at home, went out to the middle of the ground just to see the conditions today. And they had joke time with Emily Conway, where they're all standing around and she's just delivering jokes to the girls and they're filming it. So jokes, dancing, dogs, I
Get
love
some
it.
footage for next week, maybe.
Absolutely.
That is sensational. We love it. Thanks, Alisha.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See ya.
Back with more to wrap up the show after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. A bit of time to wrap up the show. Let's get straight into the best use of social. I'm going to open, if that's all right.
Go for
'Cause
it.
I know I normally let you go first, but I really love this from Richmond Central over the first few weeks of the year, really. Best on ground player cards. What a great innovation. Why haven't more clubs done this?
Perfect. No, I love it. I love it. It's like the old school ones too. I don't
Yep.
know what they were called, but the old school player cards. And
Did you see the someone's done the old school footy emblems, but for the NBA teams? Have you seen that tweet
No,
going
I
around? It looks fantastic. You know, for if you applied American sports logos to old school AFL, VFL logos. Remember those VFL logos with sort of the shields and the...
Yeah, the real old school
The real-
ones.
really old
We've
school
got a
ones.
couple, I reckon, still running around in the VAFA, those
Take-
old school
You know
ones.
what we should also do? A lot of the clubs, I know they probably wouldn't want to let their property go. Get a consistency to all the logos going through the VAFA and see if you can get a designer on Fiverr or something to go through and do all the...
You reckon?
Might be interesting to
I
see.
like the originality of all. I like the old school. Like, if everyone was happy to go
Some
to
of
old
the
school,
logos still feel like they were done in paintbrush.
100% they were. 100% they were.
They just need a little bit of a lift.
I tell you what, I like the old... St Kevin's changed theirs last year. It was the old St Kevin's Saint guy, which was definitely hand-drawn.
Yes.
And now they've got this beautiful shield. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I just think we just need a bit of consistency, a bit of a lift. Go. Oh, so what's your social media? Sorry.
I'm going with the old Zavarians women. Now, they did tag me in this to make it... the women particularly, they want to get on this segment, Lenny.
They absolutely do.
Absolutely love it. So keep doing more work like this. Look at the old Zavarians women. Over Easter, they've just taken normal football photos in different positions with different players, and they're all chasing around an Easter egg. Now, it's just simple Photoshop, but it's also very entertaining.
Not a real Easter egg?
I don't think it's a real Easter egg.
Could be a real Easter egg.
It
There's
could
some
be a
big
real
eggs
egg.
out there.
That would be a weird game of football.
Quick questions to finish on. When will Hawthorn break their winless run in Division 2?
Now,
They've got the Friars, Powerhouse and Ivanhoe to come.
Now, I think they'll struggle against Whitefriars. Whitefriars are one of probably the top 2 sides alongside Brunswick. But Powerhouse seem to be struggling a little bit at the moment. So I think in round 5, I think that is their biggest chance. Now, they've never won before in Division 2 in the history of their club. They've been up a couple of times and just gone through winless. So that'll be a massive night at Rathmines if
Quick
they can
questions,
get
Nick.
that done.
Quick questions.
Back to you. Who will be sitting on top of the Division 4 ladder after round 4?
Well, this is unbelievable. And what you've got in the rundown here, you've got Masala. It's Masala Dandenong, as we've established.
Dandenong.
Masala versus Ely Park. So, Masala Dandenong. How are the Tigers? Are they still the Tigers? Or
Yep.
they changed that too?
Yep, no, they're still the Tigers and they're still spicy for you.
Going for the Tigers to beat the Sharks.
Masala Dandenong.
Yeah. Masala Dandenong.
Yeah,
Well,
in a
the
row.
Tigers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dandenong.
absolutely. Nick, is Ace Cordy the best player in the VAFA?
Now, a few people have asked this question and said it over the past few days. Like, he kicked 6 goals. He obviously had a massive start to the year. I wouldn't say he's the best player. I think Mitch Brown is still possibly, if not the best player.
We're talking influential on teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ace can go forward, he can kick bags of goals, but he also wins the hitouts nearly every single week. So that's massive, but I think Mitch Brown still, don't put it past him. Last one to you now. We've had Matt Oakley on the show.
Yep.
And we saw your exploits for the women's Big V game. Okay. Oh, you were a runner,
I
but
was
you
a
weren't.
runner.
But you have been an umpire in the past.
Had a go at it, yeah.
And had to go. So is
Did
there
it for the record. Did an article on it in the record.
That's right, you did too. That's where I was
Or a
thinking. That's where my
GoPro,
head was
yeah.
at. Is
Yep.
there any chance, perhaps, of a comeback this week for Umpires Week?
Hold the phone, Hayden. I won't be answering it because
No chance?
No, I can't see myself picking up a whistle at this stage.
I think you still have it in you.
Oh no, I'd definitely like to. I'd
You can
want
clearly
to.
put it with the bright colours.
No, I like the bright green. I'd probably change the interpretation on a few things which confuse a few people. So probably not the best idea for me to be umpiring.
Yeah, no, after the way you went about it today,
Yeah.
a few things that you want to change, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again. Umpire well if you're umpiring this weekend, and make sure you buy him a beer at the bar after the game. We'll see you next week on the Tragics.